So a rectangle has side lengths of x and x plus 7 centimeters, so one is 7 centimeters longer than the other. The area of the rectangle is 30 centimeters squared. Find the value of x. And first of all, we need to set up an equation to solve that. So to work out the area of a rectangle, I multiply the two sides together. I would usually draw a diagram, but I'm not going to here. So I know that I've got x multiplied by x plus 7. And in order to make an equation, I know it's got to have an equals in it. So it's got to be equal to something. And that gives me the total area there is 30. So all I've got to do is go through and solve this to work out the value of x. So we'll expand these brackets on the left hand side. So x times by x gives me x squared, and x times by 7 gives me 7x. That's all still equal to 30. So now I just need to solve this quadratic that I've got here. So I'll set it equal to 0 by removing that 30 from the right hand side. So we'll take that away. So in the next line, we've got it equal to 0. So we can choose a method to solve that. So x squared minus 7x plus 7x minus 30 equals 0. So we're looking for two numbers that multiply together to give me the minus 30, but add together to give me 7. So that's got to be 10 and 3, one of which will need to be negative. So I need double brackets. So x in here, x in here. The only way I can get those to add together to give me 7 would have to be plus 10 and minus 3. So it's got to be x plus 10 and x minus 3. To solve this then from here, either this bracket must be 0, in which case x would be minus 10, or this bracket must be 0, in which case x would be 3. So x is minus 10 or 3. Of course, one of those answers doesn't make any sense because you can't have a side length of minus 10. So the only one that's actually relevant is the 3. So the side length x must have been 3. So here's a very similar question with a triangle. So to work out the area of a triangle, it's the base times by the height, but then I've got to half it. So let's write down an equation to represent that. So we can have 2x minus 3, which is the base, multiplied by the height, which is 2x plus 1. But then I've got to divide all of that by 2 because it's a triangle. And then I can form my equation because I know it equals 22.5. So all we need to do is get the 2 off the bottom, put it equal to 0, factorise it, and then we've got the value of x. Once we've got the value of x, we can work out the exact base and height distances. So to do that, first of all, you could expand the brackets first here, but I'm going to get rid of this 2 off the bottom, this divide by 2. And to do that, I'm going to times both sides by 2. So that in my next line, I've just got the brackets left on top. And then on the other side, I've got 22.5 times by 2, which is 45. So I need to expand these brackets here. So 2x times 2x will give me 4x squared. And then I'm going to do 2x times 1 will give me plus 2x. Minus 3 lots of 2x will give me minus 6x. Then I've got minus 3 times 1, which gives me minus 3. And that all equals to 45. Not set that out as well as I wanted to, but it'll do for now. So we're going to tidy this left hand side up by putting these two terms together here. So when I do that, we get 4x squared minus 4x minus 3 equals 0. Doesn't equal 0. It equals 45. Ignore me on that. I'm jumping ahead. So we're going to put it equal to 0 now. And to do that, I need to get rid of that 45. So off goes the 45 by taking it away. I've got to take it away here as well. So in the next line, I'm going to get 4x squared minus 4x and then I've got minus 3 take away 45, which is minus 48, and that all equals 0. Now, to try and factorise this is a fairly tricky task here, so the easier way to go about it is to realise there's a number I can divide all this by, and that number is 4, because 4 goes into each one of these terms here. So I'm just going to put a little note, I'm going to divide by 4. And I can divide both of these sides by 4 here, quite happily. So I'll get x squared minus x minus 12 equals 0. And that quadratic becomes far, far easier to solve than the one I had a minute ago. So all we're going to do is factorise that. I'm going to need double brackets. So I'll set these out over here with x in one and the other. And I'm looking for two numbers that multiply together to give me minus 12 and add together to give me minus 1. So that must be minus 4 and plus 3. So x minus 4, x plus 3. So my two solutions will be x equals 4 and x equals minus 3. I'm going to discard the minus 3 one because that doesn't make any sense. So the value of x must be 4. So if the question then said go on to find the length of the base, well, that'll just be 2 lots of 4 is 8, take away 3 is 5, and 2 lots of 4 is 8 plus 1 is 9. And then I can work out, check that that gives me the correct area, which it will do. This question is a little bit different from the last one in that it doesn't give you the area, but it does give us 3 parts of a right-angled triangle, which is giving us a big hint that it wants us to use Pythagoras' theorem. And we know that that says that the two shorter sides squared add together to give me the longer side squared. So that's 10 minus x all squared. And that must equal the 2x plus 2 squared. So all we're going to do is use some algebra skills here to expand these and then collect them together, put them equal to 0 and try and solve it. So 2x all squared is the same as 2x times by 2x, so 2 times 2 will give me 4, and the x times x will give me x squared, and then I'm going to add to that the 10 minus x squared, which means multiply it by itself. On the right hand side, again that means 2x plus 2 multiplied by itself, so we can write that out. So now let's expand that. I'm still going to have this 4x squared term on the front, but when I expand that I'm going to get 100, and I'm going to get minus 10x minus another 10x, which will be minus 20x, and then plus this x squared here, that's minus x times minus x. The right hand side will give me 4x squared, and then plus 4x, plus another 4x, and then plus 4. So you just need to tidy this up a bit. I can collect like terms on the left and right hand side because I should have put those two together a minute ago, but I didn't. So I shouldn't have written 4x squared there because I can put the x squared terms together. So we can call that 5x squared. I'm going to write it out in the normal order, so with the minus 20x next, then the plus 100, and on the right hand side I can just put those middle terms together to give me 4x squared plus 8x plus 4. Now I just need to put it equal to 0. The obvious thing to do is to keep the x squareds here because there's more of them over here than there is over here. So I'm going to get rid of everything on that right hand side to leave it equal to 0. So I'm going to take away the 4x squared, take away the 8x, and take away the 4 from both sides. And once we've done that, we've got x squared minus 28x plus 96, and that must equal 0. So can't factorise that in a single bracket, and I'm assuming it is going to factorise. So x and x, and two numbers multiplied together is going to be 96, and add together is going to be minus 28. I know it's got to be minus and minus, and I think it's 24 and 4. So the numbers that solve that, either the first bracket must be worth 0, in which case x would have to be 4, and the other solution would be when the second bracket equals 0, x would have to be positive 24, and both of them are valid answers here, I think. So if x was 24, then we could find the values of the sides. If x was 24, the side lengths would be 10 minus x. Actually, if you look at that, it doesn't make sense now, does it? 10 take away x would give you a side length here at the bottom of minus 14. So that answer doesn't make any sense, so cross that one out. And then we've got, if x is 4, we've got 10 take away x. So the side lengths would be, 10 take away x would be 6. The other side length would be 2 lots of x, which would be 8. And this side length would be 2 lots of x, which is 8 plus 2, which is 10.